From spiders the size of a dog to ancient mythical cities, here are the top 10 mysteries of the Amazon. Number 10. Giant spiders. The Amazon is known for its incredible ecological diversity, but there are stories of mysterious animals, and gathering evidence has proved to be somewhat elusive. One of the scariest of these stories are the numerous accounts of giant spiders. I'm not simply talking about the size of your hand or the size of a cat, but much, much bigger. Stories of arachnids the size of dogs with 6-foot leg spans and potent venom are common in the Amazon. The local communities believe they exist in vast subterranean networks and use trapdoors to access the forest floor. A number of expeditions have searched the region for evidence of such beasts, and despite villagers telling of how children have been taken by them in the dead of night, no proof has ever been found. There sure have been some massive spiders found though, like the South American Goliath tarantula, which is about the size of a puppy. Its legs can reach up to 1 foot long, and it can weigh up to 6 ounces. People report hearing the thud of their legs as they approach. With new creatures being found every day, especially in the rainforest, it's quite possible that a truly giant spider is lurking, waiting to be found. Number 9. The boiling river. There are things within the Amazon that hardly seem believable, one of which is the boiling river. Rather than simply being a flow of warm water that's been given a creative name, this one really is boiling. It's in the central Peruvian Amazon, and it's quite the hike to get to it. There's 2 different shamanic tribes that live along this particular stretch, where 3.8 miles of the river reach temperatures of up to 94 degrees Celsius. That's just over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. The particularly creepy thing about this river is what happens to the animals that fall into the water. As you might imagine, they suffer quite a painful death, and petrified remains are often found washed up on the shores. For a long time, the boiling river was merely something of legend, and with so much of the jungle still unexplored, it makes you wonder what other strange things it might be hiding. And now for number 8. But first, if you are new here, welcome, and be sure to subscribe. Do you know what the largest snake of the Amazon is? Let us know in the comments below. The answer is coming up. Number 8. Mysterious tribes. Covering such a large area, the Amazon is home to countless tribes, many of which have had no contact with the outside world at all. This means that we don't know how many people are actually living in the forest, and raises questions about the cultures, beliefs, and types of people that they are. There is a legend that there's a tribe of tall, fair-skinned, blonde, blue-eyed, European-looking people that live deep within the inaccessible parts of the region, very different to the appearance of most other inhabitants. These stories have been told since as far back as the 16th century, when the Spanish Dominican missionary Gaspar de Carvajal wrote about them. In 1925, the American explorer Alexander Hamilton Rice Jr. also encountered them, and as recently as 1977, when a British and Brazilian expedition were approached by them. Who they are, where they live, or how many of them there are remains a mystery that one day may finally be solved. Number 7. Methane emissions. Scientists measuring methane levels around the world were surprised to find huge amounts of the gas being released in the Amazon. It's usually linked with the effects of global warming and with farmed cows. But why is a forest releasing methane? Usually people think of green areas as improving the health of the atmosphere. Methane is produced from a number of sources, with about 18 million tons being released from the ocean each year, for example. The levels being released along the Amazon River, though, were found to be at least 15 million tons and as much as 22 million tons. Each year, large regions are flooded by the river, and this creates the ideal conditions for methane production. Still, estimates for the amount that would be released by these natural processes were nowhere near as high as the true levels that were being measured by satellite monitoring. So where's all the extra methane coming from? Recent studies have suggested that it could be the trees along the floodplain, which act as chimneys that release the methane from the ground into the atmosphere. Still, this doesn't fully explain the huge releases of the gas, and there's possibly still another source that has yet to be discovered. Number 6. How did it develop in the first place? We often think of the Amazon rainforest as one of the last mainly untouched regions of the world, but what if it was only there in the first place because of human activity? It might seem like a stretch, but there's increasing evidence to suggest that this is the case. It could be a sign that we still have hope with being able to save forests around the world. More than just being a result of human activity, some believe it shows signs of being structured in a specific way. The ancient civilizations that lived in the region didn't simply build their communities in the jungle, but planted the trees around their towns and cities. They preferred trees like the Brazil nut tree and the palm tree, and far more of these are found near where evidence of ancient settlements have been found. In fact, across the Amazon basin, the proximity to archaeological remains is directly correlated with the prevalence of domesticated species that grow there today. This means that the structure of the forest is still heavily influenced by how humans arranged their plantations thousands of years ago, and potentially even grew out from there to become the massive forest that it is today. Could the Amazon actually be a farming experiment that got out of control? Some think so, but most people don't. One thing's for sure, there's still a lot to learn about how the forest came to develop in the first place. Number 5. The missing kernel. The Amazon is one of the last remaining wilderness for explorers and attracts lots of people looking to make the next big discovery. It doesn't come without risk though, and in 1925, one of the greatest explorers of the time mysteriously vanished. Colonel Percy Fawcett was once as famous as Scott of the Antarctic and is thought to have been the inspiration behind the character of Indiana Jones. Obsessed with the idea of finding the city of Z, he led a team along with his 21-year-old son to brave their way through the jungle. The story of these adventurers was headline news, but he disappeared. A number of follow-up missions were sent to try and find him and his lost city, but no trace was ever found. Furthermore, at least 200 people lost their lives trying to find him, having succumbed to disease, the dangerous wildlife, or simply getting lost in the dense undergrowth. Fawcett, once highly regarded as an adventurer, went down in history as a total crackpot. Someone who, full of wild ideas, went to his death in search of a dream. Or did he? There are some who believe that he was successful in finding his target, and having found such an idyllic existence, decided to remain there for the rest of his life. We may never know the truth, but one day perhaps his remains will be found, although the mystery seems to have been swallowed by the jungle. Number 4. Circles in the ground. It's a well-known fact that deforestation is a major problem across the Amazon, but the removal of the vegetation has uncovered some strange human-made structures, hundreds of giant circles in the ground. Known as geoglyphs, they are geometrically shaped ditches, and more than 450 have been found in the Acre state of Brazil. The thing is, no one has any idea what they were for, or why ancient civilizations would have made them. Archaeologists have dug around the ditches and haven't found any of the artifacts you would expect from the remains of a settlement. They aren't built in a way that would have been useful for defensive purposes. The best guess is that they were ritualistic gathering spaces similar to Stonehenge, but for now, the mystery continues. Number 3. Giant snakes. There are more than 70 different species of snake found in the Amazon, ranging from tiny ones to much larger ones, but stories of much larger specimens are common throughout the region, and it's possible that there are some monsters out there that are yet to be found. During an expedition in 1906, Percy Fawcett detailed the discovery of a massive snake that had been shot on the banks of the Rio Abuna, one that measured at least 62 feet long. He also recounted stories of a snake that was 70 feet long, but these are just at the lower end of what's suspected to be within the jungle. Native tribes have long spoken of species that grow up to 160 feet long, with a head that's 6 feet wide. And for those of you who guessed, that's much larger than the biggest known species of snake in the area, the green anaconda. It is the largest snake in the world by mass, and they can grow up to 15 feet long. If true, this legendary creature would be quite the formidable predator. This giant snake is known as the Yakumama, but for such a large creature, evidence of its existence is still scarce. Apparently, it's pretty discreet. There have been plenty of accounts of encounters though, such as a 115-foot-long snake that attacked a tugboat in 1948, and a photo from 2009 that supposedly shows a snake that's 131 feet long. While the Yakumama appears to be more myth than fact right now, fossils of large snakes of up to 42 feet long have been found, so there's definitely the possibility that they can grow much bigger than any that have so far been discovered. It might just be the next major discovery made from such an unexplored place. Number 2. Ancient civilizations. Ancient civilizations have been documented across South America, but the Amazon is one region where it's thought people were wary of treading. Evidence is increasingly emerging that it could actually have been the site of one of the largest civilizations ever. Back in those times, there was hardly a forest there at all. What was once thought to be a 2-acre hill called Monte Grande has lent weight to this notion. Locals who dug there found artifacts that were more than 1,000 years old, and a full excavation of the site found a massive pyramid built by a long-forgotten civilization that was more than 3,000 years old. This wasn't just a rare occurrence. The civilization that built it around 1000 BC is thought to have continually reworked and rebuilt it as many as 8 times. At its peak, it's thought that as many as 5 million people lived in the Amazon basin, all within large settlements surrounding giant pyramid structures to worship. Virtually all evidence has since been covered by the jungle, apart from the occasional human remains that are discovered. Maybe one of them was the lost city of Z. Was this actually the site of one of the first advanced human civilizations? Could be, but it's very difficult to find out. Number 1. El Dorado. The biggest mystery of the Amazon is probably El Dorado. The mythical city of gold has been spoken about since the 16th century when Europeans first voyaged to the New World. Their searches for the city cost unbelievable amounts of money and sacrificed hundreds of lives, but to no avail. The phrase El Dorado actually means the Gilded One and was a nickname given by the Spaniards to the chieftain of a tribe in the Andes in what is now Colombia. He was always seen covered in gold dust, gold earrings, gold nose rings, and gold plates on his chest. Ceremonies would involve throwing gold and jewels into a lake to appease their god. The tribe was ultimately overthrown by another, but the Spaniards found the lake and drained it enough so that they were able to retrieve hundreds of gold objects, still believing there was far more to be found in the deepest parts. They became convinced that there must have been a place where all this wealth and gold had come from, and so began the legend and the search for the mythical city. Perhaps it's just that, the dream of explorers who wanted to find untold riches, or maybe there really is such a place. With such thick vegetation, it's quite possible that the city of gold is completely buried and just waiting for a lucky person to stumble across the greatest treasure of all time. Thanks for watching! Do you believe the tales of the gigantic snakes? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone!